And the title of our webinar today is Uplevel Your Impact and Your Prosperity in Your Wellness Career. And yes, you can do both. So we are going to dive right in. Again, we apologize for the delay, but we're super happy that you're here. And we want to go into whether you are in the right place. So, because, you know, we only want you to be here on this webinar. We know your time is very valuable. And so we want to right up front say, you know, if we go through this list of if you're in the right place, if you are XYZ, if you're not those and you want to jump off, that's perfectly fine. But here's, the webinar is for you if maybe you're kind of burning the candle at both ends. You love what you do, but you're getting a little bit stressed out and strung out. You want to help people, you're working in your passion, but you're exhausted and you're spinning your wheels and you're not living in integrity with what you're teaching other people to do. And you know, we'll get into the we've been there in a little while, but we both know how that feels. Maybe you're working 2 or 3 jobs, you're working too hard and you're not making enough money. You want to keep helping people, but you don't want to be burning yourself out. So we really want you here if you're committed to making changes in all those areas, if you're committed to turning the tide in your career so you can live the life you want and help others to achieve their goals. So that's really what this is all about. Grace, you want to jump in and add some things?
Yeah, and I think one thing that I would add to that list is if you're really ready to get honest with yourself. And I think that when I think about Kate and how she, you know, when she showed up in my life, one of the things she said that really resonated with me was like, if you're sick of your own BS, right? If you're just tired of the same stories keeping you stuck. So a big part of that is getting honest with yourself. And so now that you've kind of gone through this list and you're like, yes to any of those things, then you're in the right place. And we're so glad that you've made time for this today. And before we get started, I just want to say, let's just take a moment to arrive here in this space. So if you can clear away any distractions, you deserve to get the most out of this. You set the time aside. Obviously, there was a reason that it piqued your interest. There was something that resonated with you. So give yourself the dedication and the commitment right now to learning what you need to learn today during this webinar. You're worth it. So let's all just take a couple deep breaths together and arrive here in this space, in this time, in our bodies. And maybe you have a pen and a piece of paper. If you don't have one, take a couple seconds to go and grab one. There might be some notes that you want to take, some key pieces or something that we say that really sticks out for you. And maybe take a moment even before we get started to write down a question that you have. And if we don't answer it throughout the webinar today, then jump on the chat and ask us at the end of the presentation. And you know, something that I've also learned is when I'm at presentations and I'm getting new ideas, it feels really good to write in the chat. You know, we can't hear you guys, but it feels good to us too to know, like, yes, what we're saying is resonating with you. So if you type in the window, yes, or I totally feel that way, or this is something that I've been struggling with for a while, let's build some community right here today on our webinar, and the chat is there to use. I'm going to try and monitor the chat as best I can. I can respond, and then we're going to open it up for questions at the end. So I hope that sounds good. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I love what you said about starting a community right now. I mean, we can't hear you, but we can be interactive with you. And that's what we want this to be. It's not a lecture. It's an interactive conversation about how you're going to up-level your career and get the things that you really, really want out of life. And I hope you'll all stay till the very end, because at the end, Grace and I are going to make a special offer just to the people that are here on the webinar, and I think you're really going to like it. So do stick around to the end, and we'll be packed with fun information, good stuff to help you really step into the direction that you want to go with your career.
Yeah, and I'm going to see if I can screen share. Maybe you guys can. We do have some slides. Okay.
So I am in the admissions department here at Yoga Healer, admissions and enrollment, and we'll talk a little more about that towards the end. I'm also a yoga teacher. I'm also a yoga health coach. I am also a speaker and a writer, and I'm a mom first and foremost. And I have been with Yoga Healer for about 2 years, and I love talking to people with you. I love helping people like you move into real potential. I love to see people from the start when they're nervous and worried about what they're going to do, and then seeing them at the end when they come out just the most confident, happy, excited people ready to move forward in their career. So super psyched to have you guys all here. And now we're going to send it over to Grace so she can do a quick intro on herself. All right. Well, while Grace is trying to get things figured out, I'm going to chat with you guys for a couple of minutes. And again, I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. So what we're going to go into now is, are you investing in yourself? Are you really investing in yourself? This is something that it's kind of a buzzword these days. You hear it all the time. You hear, are you investing in yourself? Are you investing your time? Are you investing your energy? Are you investing your money in your career, in your bettering yourself? And what we've learned over our few years here at Yoga Healer and talking to people is people say, yeah, I'm investing in myself. But they're investing in the old way, and kind of the old paradigm of thinking about investing in yourself is as yoga teachers, wellness providers, the people that we are, we tend to think that the more we invest in training in our modality, the more successful we're going to be in our career. So if I've got a 200-hour yoga teacher training, then I'm going to have to take a 500-hour teacher training. I've got to get 500-hour teacher training, then I've got to get certified as an Ayurvedic specialist. You know, and then it's just piling one modality training after another on there without taking any business training, just thinking that that's all going to come. And the truth is it's not. The truth is we need business training. Very few people are born with really strong business acumen. It's something that we need to learn. So the first thing we need to do is admit that we don't know anything about business if we haven't taken business training. We don't know how to run a business, but we are. By being a solopreneur, a yoga teacher, a wellness provider of any sort, if you're working for yourself, you are in business and you are an entrepreneur. And you need to know how to do that. You need to know how to manage your business. And it's okay that you don't know because you haven't done it yet. So why would you know? People don't know what they don't know. So that's the first step. Oh, yeah, you're
hear me?
back.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
I'm here. Yeah. And I
see you.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and I'm just jumping back in. I closed it down and I'm back, and I just wanted to say that just to jump on what Alex was saying in terms of when we look at all the training that we do get, we learn a lot about our craft, we learn a lot about the modality, we definitely learn how to fuel our passion. There's lots of motivation out there, and we know what it is that we want to help people with. And often we're just not we're not taught, we're not trained, we don't get business training in school, we don't get entrepreneurial training. Even when we go to college, or in Canada we have university, it's a lot of learn how to do what you do really, really well. So a lot of us are really skilled and we're experts in our field, but we don't actually get the business training. And there's fear around that, right? There is fear, especially in the wellness industry. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But if there's fear for you, maybe type in the chat, say, yeah, I have some fear. I definitely have some fear about that. Maybe there's even some old belief there around it's not spiritual, or I don't do it for the money. And we think that if we're doing something for money, that it's going to confuse or it's going to get in the way of us really truly doing it because we love it. Is that any of you guys? It was certainly me. Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I'm going to backtrack just 2 seconds and introduce myself. You can still hear me okay?
Yep, can hear you just fine.
I lost Alex. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, you guys. Liza, can you hear me? Lisa, can you hear me?
I'm back.
Oh, Alex is back. Can you hear me?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. This
Okay.
is crazy. Okay, so my name's Grace. I'm a yoga teacher and I'm a studio owner. I'm also now a certified yoga health coach. I have twins who are going to be 9. I speak and I write a blog and I do some vlogging. Most importantly, I'm no longer a 9 to 5er. So I was like cheating on my passion with my 9 to 5. So I was going and working a 40-hour work week, and then I was trying to go to the studio after hours and teach yoga and seek a clear idea and clarity on where you are now and where you want to go, and if there's any way that we can help you get clarity on that to reach your goals or to really reach your true potential. That's really our job. That's the name of the game for us. Okay, so let's move back to talking about investing in ourselves, sort of the old way versus the new way. The old way of doing things is to really think like, I need more training. So if there's any of you that have said this.
I went over that
Oh,
part.
you went over this.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm going
All right,
to jump.
you go back to.
I'm going to jump myself off and try to share my screen and try to get the slides up here for a minute. So you keep talking while I'm trying to work on that.
Sure. Okay, great. So what I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about is I wanted to share a story with you in terms of, I had taken a lot of training. I had put a lot of money into different types of yoga training, some healing modalities. I have a theta healing certification. And where I ended up about a year and a half ago was sitting in the naturopath's office after having lost about a half a head of hair. And I have a lot of hair, actually. And so it was horrific, because there was like, my hair was coming out in handfuls, and I was like, I remember sitting there one morning before going into her office thinking, something is wrong, something is not working. And as I sat in her office and I told her my story of all the things that I was doing, trying to be a mom, trying to teach, trying to run a not-for-profit, trying to work my 9 to 5, she just looked at me and she said, we can glue you back together, Grace. We can give you some herbal supplements, but we're only going to glue you. We're only going to be able to glue you together for so long. You really need to make a decision. You need to decide where you're going to put your time and energy and your focus. I had complete adrenal fatigue. And it was really hard for me at the time. I remember feeling a lot of fear and not being able to make a decision, because financially I didn't have the skills or the tools to be able to make my wellness practice, my studio, my teaching yoga and working with clients a full-time reality for me, because I had, we have to pay the bills. That is a reality for most of us that live that are living in the modern society that we live in, where we exchange goods and services for dollars. And I couldn't leave my 9 to 5 because I was absolutely terrified that I wasn't going to make enough money. And so what I started looking for was ways to be able to take training, ways to be able to take training that fit with what I wanted to do. So I didn't want to go to business school, right? I just didn't want to in business. I wanted to be able to learn how to take my wellness business into, to the next level. And so it took really getting to an all-time low, trying to do too much. Is anybody else feeling that way? Like you are trying to do many different things, you're cheating on your passion with your 9 to 5, or maybe you're working in a job that really doesn't resonate for you. That's certainly something that I experienced. Yeah, absolutely. And so I think the slides are working. Are the slides working?
Yeah, the slides, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, the slides are working, but you'll no longer be able to see me with the slides. So.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's
cool.
All right.
So I was just to bring you up to speed, I was just talking about where I was at about a year and a half ago, before I started yoga health coaching, in terms of like being totally exhausted, trying to do too many things. And then really, I'm sure you guys feel me on this, really not practicing what I was preaching. So trying to teach yoga and wellness and holistic lifestyle living and being grounded, and not actually living it myself. And so it's really hard to teach those things when we go home at the end of the day. And, for me, my hair was falling out and I was spending so much money trying to go and get the naturopath and the doctor and whoever else was willing to see me, acupuncturists, to kind of glue me back together. And so when we look at really being able to invest in ourselves, it's not just about investing financially, it's also about investing the time to heal ourselves, to fill our own cup, which I'm sure everybody's heard that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. And so it's looking at how do we practice what we're preaching, and it really comes down to our ability to do less, right? To be able to do what we do really, 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 really well. And not just in the sense that we're being able to help people efficiently and effectively, but also that we're able to thrive and pay our bills and not have to stress and worry or take on all these extra side jobs just to be able to live, just to be able to maintain our sanity. Do you want to add anything, Alex?
Yeah, I think that you covered that really, really well. And I think we're going to get next into talking about how, oh, sorry, I'm having a problem with the slides again. You keep talking while I fix
We're
the
new at this.
slides.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. So the other piece is we have these. There's this side of being able to make a go at what we're doing to be able to make enough money to sustain ourselves. But the other piece of this is making an impact and being able to take our students through deep transformation. And what I was finding when I was teaching public yoga classes, or even when I was doing one-on-one sessions with my students and clients, was that I didn't really have enough time with them, especially during a class. People will come up to me, and they probably come up to you guys at the end of a class, or even if they see you, they know what it is that you do, they see you in the street, or they write you on Facebook. I didn't have a container or a boundary where when someone came to ask me a question, I could say, yes, and I do this, and I would love to set up time to talk with you. So if you're also experiencing this, we want to hear from you too, and you guys can post in the chat on the side saying like, yeah, I experienced this too. Are you someone that people go to often for advice, for support, because you really love to help people, but you don't have the proper container, you don't have the proper systems in place to actually take people through that transformative process? And so this is really about taking your students beyond the mat and
Yeah,
beyond
and
those.
that really takes you into that place that we were talking about before, where you're getting burnt out and you're getting drained and you're getting used up because you don't have that container. And you may find yourself staying after class, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, answering people via Facebook. And so many people that I talk to about, multiple different opportunities with their business say, I'm already doing this, I'm just not getting paid for it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people find themselves in that position where it's like, I'm already coaching people, I'm already helping people, I'm already doing this, but it's taking everything out of me.
Yeah. Well, and there's a mindset shift there too, that we can actually see that our passion and our craft can become our source of income. And I think it's being able to, once we get the modality, once we get the training in place and the business training in place, it builds confidence. So we're able to see that when we put these processes in place, right, these systems in place, that our clients are better, they're better off, they're having better success, we're having better success, everybody's happy. And that's where the confidence gets built for us to see like, yeah, this, my passion actually truly is a service, and it truly is a job. And you'll probably find this, right, when you're teaching classes, or if you're doing workshops, that you just don't get the time that you need to spend with people. And that's where one-on-one appointments come in. And what happens in one-on-one appointments, and what often the mistake that we're making is we're not marrying the two, right? Public yoga class with the deep dive, kind of more the one-on-one appointment setting where we get to talk and ask questions and spend time. We're not just going through physical practices, but doing it in a group, right? Doing it in a group-based setting, because people feel less alone, they feel more connected, they build community, they have accountability, and then you're not going, okay, well, I have one person at 1 o'clock and one person at 2 o'clock and one person at 3 o'clock, but they're all there going through this evolutionary process that you've put in place for them together.
Yeah, and more of the issues with the public classes and the one-on-one appointments is, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the one-on-one appointments, the public yoga classes, they're no more of an investment than whatever the hourly rate is and the 1 hour of time. So it's an issue with your students and your clients that they're not investing much in what they're doing. So that's when they're coming to you afterwards and they're talking to you and they're trying to get more free out of you, because they see that they're not getting what they really want, and it's because they're not investing more into themselves. They're not investing beyond the mat. They're not investing outside of the yoga class. They're not coming to your appointments and then going home and doing the practices. And that's what it's all about, is taking it off the mat, taking it beyond that initial tiny investment.
Yeah, well, and they're in both instances, whether you're teaching yoga or you're in a wellness practice, there's a lack of accountability. And so what can we do better to help people build accountability? How can we have more effective leadership that holds people accountable? And we're going to talk a little bit about that. So what we know really works is, and these are some things that I have learned through going through training with Kate, is knowing who my ideal client is. So first and foremost, knowing who I'm for. And I think you guys probably have all been in this situation where you have a client, you weren't super sure about what they were looking for, they weren't really sure about what it was that you offered, but you found some connection, you decided to work together, and lo and behold, time goes by, and then that thing that didn't connect starts to reveal itself, and we think like, I really wish I had gone through a process with this person, like an interview process, where we both were able to see like what the client was looking for and what I have to offer. And that really has to do with being clear with your message and your gifts. And so and that was something that I really, really, really needed to spend time on, was really looking at like, who am I for? Because I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. And you're not for everybody either. And we don't have to be for everybody, but we need to know who we're for and what are we really, really, really good at, so that that message can be communicated to the people who are trying to find you. So when people are in the depths of the World Wide Web, or they're searching on Facebook, or ads are coming up, and they're looking for someone with a specific ability to help them go through some type of transformation to get from point A to point Z, they need to be able to see exactly how you're going to be able to help them, so that before you even get on the phone with them, or before you even meet with them, or before they even come to see what you have to offer, they're really clear on what it is that you do and who you are. And this cuts out a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of effort right away. The other thing that works really well is not going it alone. So when you have access to other coaches and other wellness practitioners and other yoga teachers, a lot of us, and I will say like women specifically, we kind of have this like, I got this, I can do it myself. Anybody else feel that? Like, I'm going to do this on my own. I'm independent. I don't need nobody. I'm just going to plow through this and figure it out as I go. And I think that that is to our detriment. I have definitely been through that. When I think about all the money that I lost in the first few years of business because I didn't know what the heck I was doing, and I wasn't willing to admit that I needed help, and I wasn't willing to pay to get help, two huge mistakes. So if you're feeling that right now, you're also not alone. We pretty much all go through that at some point in time. And so it's like I said at the beginning of this webinar, getting honest with yourself, being able to say like, yep, that's me. I'm stubborn. Maybe I'm really independent. I need support. I need help. I want to be part of a community where I'm going to be able to say, hey guys, I'm trying to do this. Does anybody else know how to do that? Does anybody else know, I want to be able to put this in place. I want to see people who deal with, for me, it's people who deal with anxiety and depression specifically. I want to know what I can put into place that's going to be really effective, and other people are going to be able to give you ideas. So when you would have gotten stuck before, right, you have somebody pulling you along. Do you have anything to add to that, Alex?
Yeah, I think when a lot of people start out, we do have the mentality of, I want to help all the people all the time. I want to help everyone, and everyone is my perfect client. And that comes from a mentality of lack. It comes from, there's not going to be enough people in my specialty, in what I'm really good at, so I'm just going to help everybody. And that sets everybody up for a bad time, because nobody is uniquely qualified to help everybody. So people are so afraid of niching. of
Yeah.
finding their niche. It's such a fear, but once you do that, and once you say, like Grace said, she helps people with anxiety and depression. Okay, I help single moms. Those are the things that we're really good at, and those are the people we really connect with. So for you to think about who you really connect with, that's the first step. And then,
Yep.
like Grace was saying, the coaching and support is so huge. Going it alone is like running on the hamster wheel. It really is, because like I talked about in the beginning, when Grace was off for a little while, nobody knows how to do a business without learning how to do it. So it's you're just running around trying this and trying that and trying this and trying that, and by the time a couple years go by, you've spent a boatload of money and a boatload of time, and you're still not any further ahead in your
Well, and then
business.
what happens
And
is we quit. We usually
yeah,
quit because we're like, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for
yeah.
me. I just wasn't meant to be. No, that's not true.
Yeah. So that's where we come into the next step, which is creating the conscious business plan. And, a lot of people say, well, oh, planning is boring. Planning isn't fun. Or planning is, I don't have time to plan because I'm so busy working, doing what I do. And that's
Mm.
another one of the biggest mistakes out there. We need to take time to work on our business as well as work in our business. We're all really good at working in our business, but if we don't take the time to have a conscious business plan, to develop a business plan, which loops us back to the coaching and support, because we don't know how to build a conscious business plan on our own. But if we don't do that, we're back on the hamster wheel again and again.
Absolutely. Well, and Lisa's asking, what if you don't know what you're good at? And that's such a good question. So there's a whole
Mm-hmm.
there's a discovery process here, to sit down and start with what you love to do, right? Start with what do you love to do? And then the next piece for me is, where have I been? So what is your story? Figuring out, like, what have you been through that you are maybe even just a little bit on the other side of? So that's why I say I work with people with depression and anxiety, because I was diagnosed with bipolar depression when I was 12. I know it so well, and I've tried everything. I'm qualified to talk about it because I've experienced it. So there's a combination of, I want you guys to hear two things. What do you love to do? And what have you been through that you feel like you've made some headway or you've had some success with? And then sit down with your pen and your piece of paper, if you prefer to type, and just go through a bit of there's almost a meditative process with this, or sitting in silence. So just being able to sit and think, like, when do I feel the most lit up? When I'm doing what? And then, Lisa, if you're working with people in some capacity, even if you're doing volunteer work, ask them. Go and survey them and say, what do you really like about working with me? Or ask your family and your friends, what do you really like? Why do you come to me for support and advice? What do I give to you? Because sometimes we have blind spots and we can't see what it is that we're good at. And so I would give you three tips. Sit with and think on and feel, like, what is it that you love to do? What lights you up when you're doing what? The second piece would be to really figure out what your story is, where you've been, what you've been through. It's like the hero's journey. I was here and then I went through this and I learned this and now I know better. And then the third piece is survey your people. Go and talk to the people in your community, in your family, the people that are closest to you, and see, like, what is their outside perspective of you? What can they tell you? Someone said to me the other day, Grace, you're just really, like, you cut to the chase. You're just really honest. You're clear. It's not covered in fluff, and it's not always easy to swallow, but I appreciate that you never BS, right? So that's a quality of mine for my ideal client. For the people that really are going to benefit from working with me, it's got to be people that are, they don't want it sugar coated. They want someone to help them get out of their own way. Does that make sense, Lisa? Does that answer your question?
And I just want to add one more little thing to that. When you're writing your list of what you love and what you love to do, don't limit yourself to just thinking about your working life and what you love while you're working. Write down everything that you love. Maybe you love horseback riding. Maybe you love flowers. Maybe you love going for a walk with your dog. Write all those things down, and it's amazing the little insights that you can get into what you're good at, what you love. So don't limit it when you're writing it. Write everything that you love to do.
Absolutely. And this is part of, so we have like designing your life. So in this process, in this, call it a creative process, it's not necessarily at this point even close to a business plan. It's just a creative process. It's a desire map. That's, Danielle Laporte's book, or it's a mind map of some sort. Get your markers out, get some colors. You guys should see my journal. It's just like all these different colored markers. But what you're doing is you're designing your life. You're sitting down and you're figuring out, what does it look like for me in an ideal situation? This is part of the process that Alex and I take people through when we do the coaching sessions, is we say, like, paint me a picture. And it's so nice to be able to talk to someone else about it who gets it. And like, believe me, we get it. We friggin' get it more than anyone that you will possibly encounter. We understand what it's like to be over here and be stuck and know this is not where we want to be, to the point where I might have told Kate on a podcast that I wanted to build my office building down with everyone in it alive. Ugh, don't do that. Get on the phone with us. Tell us what your desires are. And sometimes it's starting with what you don't want. Okay. So sometimes the initial process is just, you know what? I don't want to sit in a desk with no window anymore. I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I want to take days off when my kids are sick. I want to be able to go on vacation whenever I want. These are the kind of things that you will get once you are able to really put your passion and the action of business planning into place. When you're able to marry these two things beautifully, you're already really, really good probably at your craft. Honestly, you're not giving yourself enough credit. And what I heard at a workshop this weekend was 15% of your business success is going to be your craft, right? And you've already got that. And it's probably the easiest part. You have some idea of like, I'm really good at this. I really want to do this. I really want to help people in this way. The other 85% is getting the support, the structures, the formulas in place. And if you have aversion to that, join the group, join the club, because we all have, that's scary for all of us. And that's a big part about when Alex and I were kind of talking a bit about like having fear. And we're going to go into that in just a second. So I'll hand it back over to you, Alex.
Okay. So we're digging into taking the leap and feeling the fear. And change is a scary thing. It's scary for everyone. Even positive change is scary. So we find ourselves not wanting to do it and not wanting to come out of our comfort zones. And that's why so many people stay, people stay in bad relationships. People don't lose weight. People don't start an exercise program, even they know they need to. Same reason that we don't up level our business and take it to the next level, because we're like, it's okay. It's okay where it is. And all sorts of fears come up when we think about making the big change. There's the fear of failure. There's the fear of success. Believe it or not, a lot of us have fear of success. And
yeah, what if it works? It's not so much. We know what it looks like when it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a big fear that many of us have. And there's a great book, I think, Grace, you recommended it to me, called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to tell you about right now, is just, it's okay. If you're sitting here going, I could never do this. This is so overwhelming. You know what? I spoke to Kate several years ago before I worked for Kate, and I talked to her about doing one of her programs. And I sat here and I said, I could never do that. I could never put that all together. I could never do it. And that was my first response. And that was my first answer to her. And then I felt the fear. I thought about it some more, and I took the leap, and I did it anyway. And now I'm a yoga health coach. I independently work for Kate. I was able to move across country this past summer without having to look for a job, without having to worry about finding a job, because I took my business with me. And it's an amazing, freeing feeling. So yeah, it's scary, but if you're not uncomfortable, you're not really growing. So
right. Absolutely. Well, and to that I will say, like, sometimes the fears, they're not clear. They don't show up as like, I'm scared. Sometimes it's just some crazy crazy stuff that we hear in our heads, like, oh, that's just not for me. Like Alex was saying, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Oh, no, the time is not now. Oh, what if I do this and it doesn't work out? And sometimes it's also, oh, we talked about this early on. What if I need more training I need to have more modality training. I need to know more about what I'm doing. And that is also an old lie that keeps us stuck. And the piece about the fear of investing in business trainings or in courses, I don't hear from people that they're afraid that Kate doesn't have the right information. Most people and most of you on this webinar know that Kate knows what's up. She knows what she's doing, and she's sharing what she did with everybody else. And she's saying, you know what? If you're bad at this over here, you think you're bad at this, it's actually just a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of training. We actually don't fear investing in other people nearly, I want you to hear this, nearly as much as we fear investing in ourselves. So I used to be an investment advisor. And people would come in and they would say, okay, I have X amount of dollars. I want you to put it in a mutual fund, or you guys call it a 401k in the States. We call it an RSP in Canada. You know, I want you to put in here. They knew nothing about the company. They didn't know what the company's values or ethics were, but they had a level of confidence that those people over there know what they're doing more than I know what I'm doing. And I'm not saying that investments are bad, but what I'm saying is that the mindset that we don't put money in ourselves, and that's what this is really all about. Like when you get business training, you're taking X amount of dollars and you're investing in your own what you've learned into practice. And that's the scariest part. And that's why the community piece is so important, because we're all feeling that way. Right. And when we go and we try, you're not doing it on your own, because when we try and do it on our own, we get stuck. We aren't held accountable. The fear will tell us lies and we'll believe it and we'll stay where we are. So when we're thinking about investing in ourselves or investing in a business course, know that, just identify, calling it out. Oh yeah, I'm scared that it's not gonna work for me because I am somehow not good enough, not deserving, no, I don't have the same abilities. I can't do what Grace and Alex did because I've got this and this and this going on. We've all done it. We've all said it. And when you get to talk to us, when you do coaching sessions, we get to work this out. We get to what's the word I'm looking for? Like diffuse it or break down all of the BS that's surrounding it.
Yeah, and just pull it apart and figure out
Yeah.
what it really is. Because like Grace was saying, sometimes the fear, it comes disguised as something else. And we're so good at disguising our fears. And sometimes we throw some blame in there. Oh, I can't do it because my husband won't let me, or I can't do it because it's too expensive, or I can't do it because you don't know what my life is like. My life is different from yours, and so I can't do it. And
Right.
like Grace was saying, believe you us, we've had the same struggles that everyone has had. We've had the same fears that everyone has had. And we just love, our favorite part of our job, I'm going to speak for both of us right now, is helping people get over that fear. Is
Yep.
seeing the fear in people and having them, it's like standing on the end of a diving board, you know, with a blindfold on, and they're like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then they dive in and they're so transformed.
Yeah.
It's just, it's quite amazing.
Well, the only difference between, maybe where you guys are at and where Alex and I are at is that we got help. Like we were like the Fear Addicts Anonymous or whatever, where we were just over here like, well, I can't do it because I'm just not good enough at it. And Beth saying like that struck a chord, the more modality training. Oh my God. Like if I had gone to my man and said one more time, like, I gotta go take this new training on I'm gonna be this kind of a teacher. And I've taken like 3 or 4 different yoga trainings to teach different yoga, better yoga. No, I just needed to learn about how to package what I already knew to do. You guys you're already good at what you do, right? If that strikes a chord, then you need to dissect that. And the only difference, as I said, between where you guys are at and where Alex and I are at is that we were able to be like, yep, I need help. And Kate has talked about the like Yoga Healer and the courses as like the ship, and you're on the barge being pulled behind the ship. So when you get stuck and you're paralyzed with self-doubt or fear, etc., the community, the support, the coaching, the mentors, they pull you along. So you're not completely stuck. You might feel like you're stuck, but because of the momentum of the tribe, of the group, of you being able to say like, oh, I need help with this particular thing. I found it. I dug down deep enough and I found exactly what it is and I need help with it. So we can show up and help you.
Yeah. So what we've been talking about is now what do we do next? How are we going to break down these walls and open the doors to the life that we want, to where we want to go? I mean, we've talked about having lack of community, and we don't mean lack of like your own community. I mean, although sometimes that is it, but your community, we don't mean your local community, but a community of people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, who have similar goals, who have similar steps that they're taking, who are along the path the way you are. Without that, it's really, really hard to get there. So what we offer here at Yoga Healer is that support, that tribe, that group momentum, what Kate likes to call the power of the posse. And I mean, she believes in it so strongly. She hasn't done any one-on-one trainings in years because she believes so strongly in the power of the posse. I mean, that is what you don't just learn from Kate when you learn from Kate. You learn from Kate, you learn from us, you learn from the other people who are with you, you learn from the people who have been in the courses a little longer than you have. There's so much community. The next one, going without coaching. You know, if you want to help people, you need to be helped yourself. I once heard a coach say that he was trying to get people into his coaching program of his, and somebody asked him who he got coaching with. And he said, well, I don't get coaching with anyone. And we thought, wow, you're trying to get people to invest in coaching with you, but you don't think it's important enough to invest in coaching? So how are you talking people into investing in coaching when you're not investing in coaching? So if you want to help people, you need to invest in that same kind of help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, accountability and reliability is a huge thing that we talk to people all the time who are like, I just, you know, I want to do it, but I don't know how many people I've talked to, they're like, I start things and then I don't finish them. I start doing this and I don't finish them. And that comes back up to the first two, the coaching and the tribe. Together equal accountability and reliability. When you have the coaching and when you have the tribe, then you become accountable to yourself and others.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, you know, without the plan, we talked earlier about the business plan. I mean, it's like throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I think everybody knows that just doesn't work. You need a plan. Even if you consider yourself a free spirit, someone who doesn't like structure, you need a plan, because the plan is what's going to allow you to be a free spirit. The plan is what is going to, you've maybe heard in some yoga classes, that the discipline is what gives you the freedom. The plan is going to give you the ability to have time planned to just be a free spirit and to do whatever you want to do. If you don't have that plan, then you don't have the time to be a free spirit, because you're always trying to catch up and you're back on the hamster wheel again.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and the piece, like the tried and tested guidance and coaching, it's like I always say to people, it's kind of like having a whole bunch of siblings or older and younger siblings, and you're watching other people say like, oh, made a mistake over here, fell down, fell in a hole, got stuck for a while, and then they're so willing, and that's what Kate has created, is people who are willing to share openly. Nobody's holding their cards close to their chest saying like, oh, I found something that works, I'm not going to tell anybody about it. We're over here saying like, hey, like when I first started learning how to do webinars, I was like, hey guys, I learned all this stuff about how to, create these slides and how to do this piece over here. And it was like, it was all shared. I sent all of my notes, all of my information to anyone who wanted it. I put it all in the forum and said, if you guys want to learn how to do this, I'd be happy to talk to you, because what goes around comes around in our circle. What you share with others, when you share with others, they will be willing to share with you. So there is no lack mentality over here. There's enough to go around. We are looking at building one another up so that everybody can be lifted up. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feels
I mean,
good.
we all feel that, the success of one is the success of all, and we celebrate each other's successes.
Big time. Yeah. And we're also there for each other with no judgment and no shame when we do get stuck. And it's just about finding how to get comfortable to be vulnerable with others and say like, I need this. I don't even know what I need. That's the best part, is you don't have to be even specific. We'll help you through that. And that's mine and Alex's job, is for you to say, you know what, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't even know what the fears are. I can't hear them loud enough. I'm just kind of stuck. Can you help me maneuver it? That is what we are intrinsically good at.
And so we are going to make an offer to do that for you. For all of you who are here on the call, we would like to invite you in to talk to us, to have a free consultation with either of us for 30 minutes to just hammer it out, to talk about what you're interested in and where that might take you.
Yeah, what's working, what's not working. We're looking at some inquiry processes, a little bit of coaching, and really having you get up close and personal with, what are your dreams? What are the actions that maybe you're lacking? What are the things you don't know, right? Like taking those blinders off, being able to see where maybe your pitfalls are. And that's okay. We all have them. Some of us are really good. And Alex and I, over time, have been able to support each other in the areas that Alex is really strong, I am not. And I know when I can go to Alex and I can say, hey, I need your expertise, your gifts in this particular area, in your organization, in your setting boundaries, in your being clear and concise, right? And then by the same token, I'm really good at support. I'm good at listening. I'm good at troubleshooting things. I'm good at finding solutions, doors where there were once walls. So it's being able to connect with those people and find, right, like who's really good at that in the community. And yeah, we're your first step. We're your first step.
All right, so I'm gonna try to take off the slides and then come back on, and we'll see what kind of questions you have. We've got a few more minutes that we can take some questions. So type your questions into the chat, and
Can you put your video back on?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And there I am.
So you guys, you have a couple options at this point. You can start typing your questions into the chat. We're happy to stay on for a few more minutes and answer any questions. If you're feeling that the questions maybe at this point are a little more private, you can email us. Do we have a link to put up or an email address that they can send to get booked in for a call? So the call is completely free of charge. We're going to get on the phone with you for 30 minutes, start to just do some deep dive work, and then we'll see where it goes. Usually at that point, people are a little more clear with what they want and what they're needing. So you're going to receive an email with a replay for the webinar, and you can skip over the first part where we had technical issues and just get into the juicy stuff.
We'll edit it before we send it back out.
We'll edit it. Oh, good. Yes. Yay, technology. Yeah. And so then in that email, there'll be an offer to schedule. And you know what? Like, just take the leap. Absolutely, there is nothing on the line. There is no risk. You're going to get on the phone with us. We're going to have a conversation. You've had an opportunity to meet us. You can see that we're not scary. We're super loving, down to earth people. We've been there. We've been through the muck and the mire, and we're coming out the other side. We're on the other side of it, and we'd really, really love to get in touch with you and get on the phone with you and find out if there's any clarity we can help you with, or anything we have to offer for you in your next steps.
And Darla is asking, is it better if we're starting the process to have clarity before calling you? No, absolutely not. You don't need to be clear at all. Just schedule with us, and we'll help you find some clarity. We'll help you really figure out, what you want to be doing and how you're going to get there, and we'll give you some concrete steps to get there.
Yeah, and I think we all do that a little bit of like, oh, I don't even know if I'm clear enough to have a call. I had a call with a woman yesterday. She was like, I don't even know. I just really like Kate. I just really like the podcast. I wanted to talk to somebody. And I was like, cool, that's great. So we went through and we just did baby beginner steps, like just walking through, like, where are you at now? What do you know you really love? What do you know you like to do? By the end of the call, she was like, oh my gosh, this was so great. Because you know what? The truth of the matter is that these conversations that we have with people are not having in their day-to-day life. They're not, right. No one's saying, when's the last time someone in your life said, like, tell me about your dreams and what are you doing to get there, right? And trying to help you get really honest. We have no personal attachment. We can listen to what we're hearing and say, you know what, sounds like maybe this is going on, without worrying about, the people in your life. They might not even know how to direct you, or they might not feel comfortable saying, well, I think you're kind of maybe making a mistake over here, and maybe they're not qualified to do that.
And sometimes we find that the people in our own lives, they don't mean to, but they doubt the big dreams. They're like,
Big time.
it's like, oh, well, if you're a school teacher and you want to be a this, that, and the other thing, you should just keep doing what you're good at. And they mean it in a loving way. And not there's any, I love school teachers. Please don't get me wrong. I just threw that out there. I think school teachers are awesome and should be paid way more than they are. But I'm just saying, maybe you're doing something and you want to do something different, and your family is saying to you, just keep doing what you're doing because you're good at it. And
yeah.
that's
their
it's trying to be helpful, but yeah.
So Lisa, yeah, after the call with us, the cost and the service that you'd be getting, it really depends on the result of the call. So Kate has 5 courses. They range in price. They range in like what they provide and the end result. And so that's our job when we're on the phone with you, is to walk you through where you're at, what you're looking for, what your budget looks like, what your price range looks like. And then we're going to we'll work with you to say, here's what we would recommend. Here's what your options are. Here are the different packages. So that we'll go over all of that with you on the phone, and we'll send you all of that information as well so that you can sit with it and figure out what your next step is. I hope that answers your question.
We're also very likely, before we even get into anything that costs anything, we'll probably send you some more free trainings. We have lots and lots of free trainings, so we'll get an idea of what your interests are, what direction you want to go, and we've probably got a free training that will help you out, so we'll send you that first, and then if you want to get deeper into some of our other trainings, then we can talk more about that then.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, there's no commitment, right? Other than just showing up for your call. We like it when people show up for their calls. That's a good thing. It's a good first step. That shows that you're committed and that you're serious about just finding out what your options might be. And then you get to decide, you get to figure out, Alex and I are in admissions. We're not salespeople. We're here to help you go through a discovery process. So we're here to help you figure out, yeah, okay, that sounds like it might really work for me. And then to answer all your questions and work through any potential like resistance or fear that might come up. And we need to know that you're a good fit too, right? There's a big part of this. This is adult education. There is a level of commitment. Yes, you get a ton of support, but no one's going to do the work for you. So we need to know that you're in that place, that you're like, you want to get honest, you're sick of your own BS, you want to show up. So in our call,
you got to be ready.
Yeah, there's you kind of interviewing us, asking us what our experience has been like and what the offerings are. And then we're also wanting to know where you're at. And based on that conversation, we're going to give you your options. And then you'll be able to make the best decision for you if this is the best next step for you. Obviously, the most of you are here because you've heard Kate's message and you've seen how she teaches. You know, she's practical, she's down to earth, her information's accessible, it's easy to understand. The tribe is incredible, it's vast. We're a global tribe, people all over the world, from all different walks of life and backgrounds and in different areas of wellness. The love is super deep, it's strong, and we really support one another. So those are kind of just some things that we can tell you to prepare and take advantage, right? Offers like these, I don't know that they come around all the time every day, and you're here for a reason, right? Like divine timing or whatever you want to call it. You're here because you had interest and you wanted to find out more.
Yeah, definitely take advantage of it. It's if nothing else, it'll be just interesting and you'll walk away with some more insight into yourself. And that's really what it's all about.
Beth, so the strategy sessions typically are once people applied for courses when we go through and do an admissions call. These are just coaching sessions that we're offering today. So you can do, if you know for sure that there's a particular course, you can go right into the strategy session. If you don't know and you want clarity, then I would do the coaching session first. So they're different. And usually what happens is we do a coaching call first, and then we figure out what your next step is, and then we go into a more specific strategy session, if that answers your question.
All right, how are we doing on time here? We've got a couple more minutes if anyone has any more questions. Otherwise, like Grace said, if you want to save your questions for the coaching calls, that's fine too.
Yeah, and if you have any specific questions for us about like what we anything that we can share about our process or our journey, like we're really happy to share, and we can share some of that on the calls with you as well. I became a certified coach at the end of January. I've been teaching the habits and teaching yoga and Ayurveda in the course modality for just almost a year and a half. And it's been life changing. I quit my job. We can share that podcast with you guys. There's a series of podcasts of like Grace quitting your job and burning the building down, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, that's always, feel free to, like Grace said, either on the coaching calls or here, to ask us questions about our experiences, because like we were saying earlier on, your experiences are what make you good at what you're doing. However you show up in the world helping people, it comes from your experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And that's part of the clarity, right? That's part of like, what is my story? What am I good at? And we're really good at helping people pick that out. And that's been really huge, really valuable for me, because it's really hard to be for everybody, like we said, and you want to find your people. They're out there. They're looking for you. Yeah, I can. So Daria, however you pronounce your name, if you send an email to, well, my email address is graceg@yogahealer.com, or the info@yogahealer.com, or admissions@yogahealer.com will get you to us.
Or alex@yogahealer.com,
Alex,
any of those. We have a lot of email
any of
addresses.
those will get you to us. Then you can, I can send you the links to those podcasts. Or if you want to hear that one, it's a pretty funny podcast. Just go into the Yoga Healer site, and you can just Google Grace Edison, and that one will come up. I think it's busting through glass ceilings or something, and just know that the people I worked for heard that podcast, and it was unfortunate. Spoiler alert. Thanks, Liza.
All right.
Awesome, Lisa. We're really looking forward to talking to you. Thank you guys for being so active in the chat. Alex and I are really grateful to be given this opportunity to speak with you. This was our first official Yoga Healer webinar.
You might not have guessed that.
Yeah. Oh, no, that wasn't obvious. But you know what? We're really good at our job and admissions and in the coaching sessions, and we're gonna get better at webinars.
And we're going to be doing these webinars more regularly. So they'll be fun, short webinars that only people who have already been expressed interest in Yoga Healer in one way or the other will be invited to. So it's never going to be like a 300-person webinar. It's always going to be small, intimate webinars where we can interact like this, and we're going to have different subjects. And that's something too, if you want to email us with a webinar topic, something you'd like to hear a little bit more about, go ahead and do that, and we'll be happy to put something together for you in the coming months.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I just wanted to I thank you guys for being here throughout the whole call. I hope that you really got some value from this and some new ideas, and just to see, like, Alex and I are representations of the community. There's a lot more people, like us, not the same as us because we're unique, but like us in the community. And we would love to hear from you if you really got some value, or you want us to talk about something specific next time. That would be great. So any of those email addresses, Alex, Grace G, info, admissions, get in touch with us. Just reach out. I don't know what I want, but I want something. We're here for you.
Thanks, everybody. It was great.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.